already have a company I'm going to use eventually.
Well, this is really different from my other house.
Because I won't actually, I have a guy that I work with, who's done a lot of gas and house to get all the measurements.
Yeah.
and installation, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're working with somebody. in the
Okay,
industry.
let's call the meeting to order. I know Peter's usually a few minutes after we start, but, why don't we get started? You have an agenda and the information that you will need for tonight's meeting. If you have
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't know how to provide us tonight. We have no guests. We're all familiar with the restroom locations and the exits. We're there. Is there anyone joining us on Zoom yet? Minutes of the last meeting, which was April 27th, they have been submitted to you electronically. Does anybody have any suggestions, corrections, additions? All in favor? Carried. There's no one to introduce, either Zoom or here in person, so we'll get on to the committee organization. Just to update you again on the record availability on the website, it's approved minutes and our meeting schedule. Not aware that there's anything else there at this point. If there needs to be at some point, we'll get it. That's where we are right now with that. Committee communications. I did have Denise put out a post-meeting memo from the last meeting together with the updated worksheet that we've been working on. And you have received the minutes when we were ready for distribution as a draft. So those are the communications that have gone out to everyone. All right, let's go right into the meat of the meeting, and that would be item number 8, the memorial concept considerations. And we had filled in that worksheet. So we had concentrated on things that we thought were important. We had listed locations, concepts, and gotten down into some detail with infrastructure, amenities, even estimates for on the operations of the capital expenditure side. So we got pretty deep into things in a conceptual fashion. And when we left the last time, we had talked about moving on with this process to hone in on concepts for the town board consideration by starting with location and then looking at the concepts as well and trying to continue to narrow our focus down into proposals for the town board. So I took the liberty of creating a new worksheet, and you have that. It's 2 pages, it's stapled together, and Dan has it projected up here on the screen. You had asked that we take a look at location. So from our worksheet, I put down the locations where you had indicated potential projects. Then I took a look at the concepts that we had identified that went with those properties. And you'll see in many cases, there's 3 dots because I didn't put everything. I just put some things that were highlighted by you so that we could kind of further define if we need to add some things there. And then you'll see that there's a column for family. So I'd like to refer you back to the resolution that's in front of you. And the charge to the committee is items 1 through 3 on that main page. We're working with the guardsmen's families to ensure that any end product is appropriate, respectful, and meaningful. So the family column up here is yet to be determined. So when we work together to come up with some proposals for the town board, Mrs. Colby is the family representative for us at this point. So we're going to be looking at the family take a look at what you want to propose to the town, see if it meets with the family's approval for the aspects that the family has asked us to consider. Item number 2 on our charge is memorial site location, exploring currently owned town property. And you see that this incident location is there, but we know currently the owner is not interested in using that property for its purpose. So locations are, as we have talked about, town property, and then we've looked at some other considerations. A couple of them are village property, and the first one under other, New York State Route 64, is to add on to Assemblywoman Marge Burns' proposal to the state about extending the, it actually talked about extending the flag line along that route that would be dedicated for. And then the third task is concept or concepts to be presented to the town board. So that's in the middle. These are concepts that we have come up with for these particular sites that are identified in the left column. If you go to the second page of the handout on the table, you'll see that some of the other concepts that we talked about, that we have a representative monument of some sort, that we include family activity, that's important for you. And also one of your express considerations and concepts is affordability, or the idea of sharing beyond a specific site. And then your priorities are also on that second page. Said it's very important as we initially kind of brainstorm that we are memorializing, that is our intent, that we're seeking family approval, not doing anything about families, conceptual awareness, consideration, and that whatever this is, we prioritize for the town board that it remain in perpetuity, that it's something that can be operationalized somehow into the town activity, be that the highway department, funding from the town board. So those are priorities that I listed from our discussions and put there. Certainly, there are maybe other things. And I would just say to you, as we've been doing right along, nothing's off the table. Trying to, come in and narrow our focus and come to consensus on what we want to do. There still may be ideas that percolate from your discussion. So you'll see empty bullet points and room for further consideration. So this is just a start in terms of helping, again, capture where we're going. So Dan is here to help us populate this worksheet, if you will. And when we left, you said you would come back here with the idea that you would further define your concepts around locations and themes of concepts. So does somebody want to start? If they have a specific thought about how to pull these things together, we'll have you talk about your thoughts and ideas and see where they go. Okay.
You're reading it off. So. Anyways, just an overview. Based on prior meetings, the committee, I think, first and foremost, serves the remembrance of the three soldiers who lost their lives in the tragedy. It should both educate and enlighten about the freedom as well as their mission as part of C Company during the 71st General Support. It was also important to reflect gratitude of the community for the services and efforts. Location. As I mentioned last meeting, I think it should be located in a centralized place that both draws community members to see the memorial as well as have a natural traffic source to be discovered by the board. To me, the center of the park makes sense for these reasons. One, centrally located in the town of Lebanon. Two, it is owned by the town of Lebanon. 3, infrastructure needed is currently there. 4, there's currently a draw to the park with the athletic fields and tennis courts, as well as potential long-term project that would service the draws. That section. Integration, renaming, establishment, splash park, and family facilities. As was mentioned at the past meeting for the past year, the town has been looking at the building of this splash park. It's continuing desire for town government to increase the quality of life. Although we are very early in the process, I think the project may dovetail nicely with our vision. I see the park named after that. The park incorporates existing features, task force, restrooms, and parking. Also includes splash park as well as the playing field. Central and prominent will be a plaque or series of plaques that will memorialize the event. I think this would serve as a great draw to our community, people in the community, raising awareness as well as education. Teresa has generally brought to us the family wishes and being so important for us to focus. She said in the meeting, Christian would love the splash park and will take it to his home. This made me truly believe that somber and remembrance of the place that families would love to gather would be a great way for the community to celebrate this service.
That's available.
I'll do it slower this time. No, I'll send it.
So when we look at presentations like this, for minutes, how much do you think ought to be in the minutes? Should your proposal be an addendum to the minutes in entirety? Do you want to reference to your proposal for amenities added in the summer park? What do you think is appropriate for the minutes for the park? Certainly we have this.
Yeah. To be honest, I think if anyone has something like that, to send it to Bonnie and for it to be that makes sense.
So anything that you have that is quantified like that, electronically available for the minutes. Each time we put the minutes together, we put them. Now, what
Should I email that to you, Bonnie, or to?
I'm going to say to Bonnie for the minutes.
Okay.
And then the minutes would be shared with Denise, so Denise would have all of that. But for the minute taking, it's important for like the Bonnie, so she.
Do we have Bonnie's email set? Is she listed on the?
Well, what do you think? You want it to go to Denise to be, come to you? Let's do that. Let's go to Denise.
Okay.
We'll all have that. And then it can go to Bonnie. She's putting minutes together. But I just want to make sure that we capture your idea on here. Do you want us to bold Selma Road Park, Splash Park Pavilion? So that we know that we're, you know, have somebody already there for that? I don't know what to do to highlight that we're focusing in.
I think once we have the minutes and any proposals, items that we self-approve.
We also talk about renaming.
Oh, yeah, Renee.
I did, and I was only saying it now because my ideas that I have here, dovetail with Tom's, with regard to the splash park. The whole picture, and the concept, talked about the utilities, which is what I'm talking about, I have a lot of different points, in a couple of sentences. Permanent memorial. Devoted to the memory of the servicemen, that we have parking, water, electricity, easy access, other recreational facilities. Beautiful location, I told you, when I sat there that day, I couldn't get over how beautiful it was, and I had that time there for the building of the Highland Trust. Then it's a central location. Because of those other facilities, there is a lot of use there. Just recently, I received a couple of emails from town residents saying how much they appreciate that the town has tennis courts and basketball courts there, and that they are used constantly, and that they have the right to fill. Like to be used at night, so I know people are using those facilities. The only thing I was going to add was with regard to the memorial itself, flags, flag poles. Flag posts, I envision like circular type, semicircular type of thing. And I think, Steve, you mentioned, and I don't know if I have these quotes correct, dust off.
That's our call sign.
Okay. And something about when I have you,
When I had your wounded,
when I have your wounded. Okay, I thought that maybe we could put something like that in one of the, in the memorial, the flag, the whatever monument, whatever, I thought that would be touching. Just the whole idea of commemorating this and celebrating the lives and selflessness of these men. And I kept reading it, but I left that. So, I didn't want to take that.
Let's scroll down to concepts and the second page of the handout. And if you put on one of those bullets, put inscription. And then is there some kind of a generic name for these inscriptions that you
One was your call sign, you said, right?
so like when we go, so our unit call sign is Blackheart, but when we go downrange or overseas, excuse me, we're just generically all called dust off, so that way any of the ground guys, it's just what they call us, that's
It's an
been 6 feet in now.
That's your operation.
Yeah, so when we go overseas, it's everything's dust off, every medevac helicopter, the entire AOR is all dust off. So that way everyone knows that the one with the Red Cross is dust off.
So it would be fair to say, inscription, company identification, company, or something that would go back to the words that are important for you in various situations.
It'd almost be more like mission description type of deal. Because every medevac unit in the US has a different company call sign. So that, like I said, so if the company call sign, if you gave that to someone in the military, they're gonna expect us from Rochester to say Blackhawk. Versus if you talk about overall mission description, that kind of more falls in line with the concept of when I had your wounded, which is like our mantra for the entire dust off organization. That makes any
So maybe
sense.
inscription, we should put mantra, mission description.
Sure.
Right, let's put a colon after description. And then we have mission description and so that would encompass whatever language we need to pass on to the town designer. Yes. Cynthia, is there anything based on what you said that you want Dan to add?
So I think, just the idea that we have, that we go concepts. I was just thinking of all the utilities that are there, easy access, there's parking there.
So utilities up above, next to the location and suffice.
Utilities.
Let's try
They're
this.
there.
Is there anyone else who has something built around the summer park? Yeah. anything else about some of the properties that we might- Does someone else give another location and where the photographs of the
Well,
library?
I had suggested the old library, 15 meet mostly. But, I mean, I think, I actually wanted to defer to somewhere else, because it's, I mean, it's something that the thing, it's really what the thing. So I think that's the first priority. So I do want to stick along with those lines. So,
I think it's important that you understand that the town board expects us to do our due diligence with, and so more than one concept is appropriate, because certainly if something unforeseen happens to one idea that we put forward that it can't happen, I don't think that it would be in the town's best interest to not have something else to work. Certainly, the property on Somerville isn't going to go away. And if the splash park never comes to fruition, you know, a pavilion and the other things that you talked about can still happen. But I think the splash park is something that is especially attractive as an idea for the, you know, families. But I think we also need to offer more of that kind of thing, maybe three concepts. Because
Okay.
each one is going to have different budget considerations, each one is going to have a little bit different perspective of memorialization. I don't want to overlook anything, and I certainly want everyone in town to believe that they get a role. So please don't shortchange your own ideas, you know, for something that's been expressed and read.
Okay,
Those thoughts.
I did write a proposal. I spent a little time on it. I will go through it. I wrote it up. I started with well, you all received a picture of the site that I thought would be appropriate, the old Tremendous library. I thought that the stone would look nice in the front yard. I envisioned sidewalks leading, and arc leading from the public sidewalks to the stone and granite block. And then this new sidewalks, the old sidewalks I would replace. Continue the new sidewalks to the front door. So there'll be public access, parking at the town parking, which is 100 feet away. It's also a great, for large number of residents walk in, there's a lot of pedestrian traffic in the area. I also thought that it could be very easily put into the village walking, village walking tour. They have online stuff where, you know, classes, school classes, stuff like that, look in there and we walk around the points of interest in how they act in the village. With that, I'll start with the inscription I wrote. We dedicate this memorial to the men who gave so much to their country, Stephen Skoda, Christian Cope, and David Trial. Memorial Guard, the National Guardsmen were flying their UH-60 medevac helicopter on the training mission over Mendon when it crashed into a farmer's field. All three men were killed. This memorial is in memory of these men who gave so much to the country and our community. Memorial, I thought would be a nice grand block. Discuss that. The infrastructure I mentioned, would be sidewalks, so lighting, proposing American flag being put on this front of the public library and having it. The only maintenance I saw was, but I keep sidewalk clear their winter months. plant to maintain flower beds, whole lawn, and maintenance of American flag. As far as the construction of the memorial, it came with costs. Little sidewalk will be removed. There will be a cost for backhoe, labor from the village, I thought. Cost of the cement, gravel, materials, and they came up with approximately $7,000 for the memorial, $1,000 for annual operating expenses. Property owners, the town of Mendon. So before this, good public access, sidewalks and public parking, close by. This would be all my bullet points. That were really proposed. It's a little bit more reflective. I envision this monument or memorial as more reflective, wider tone. That was my vision.
Questions? So if you have that process for an electronic
Well,
version.
I have an old school.
Um,
It's called cursive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a code. Yeah, right, it's coded.
would you- Are you able to drop down to the town hall sometime and have a copy made for the niece so she
I
can
can
scan it?
let her have this copy tonight.
All right, well, Bonnie can take it then and get it back to you, but then it can get scanned in and. Okay, now, we have one other site that we had talked about. This scope and talk specifically about the Reardon property. We talked about putting a monument there when the trails are on the property. Did anybody work anything around that? Is there enough there that reflects any thoughts, answers, anything we have talked about? Or is there something more we can put up with that particular?
On that, I thought about it, talked to my neighbors, and I think what you were talking about earlier is there's not really a central location for people to go, so maybe just do something separate. I know my neighbors all have something foundation to do something, or students know it's just a little, it's flag, whatever it is, but probably not. I mean, just wanting to attract people and traffic is probably not the best idea to have to small production. So
Is this something that you want to focus on with the neighbors and the foundation? Or would you like it to remain here? Under this particular umbrella? What's your thought on moving forward?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we can talk about that. If what the best way to go about that would be with the information of it. You know,
What would be, I mean, if you're gonna do something on the town property.
Yeah.
And include the trails, it would be a joint partnership. with the
Okay.
Mendon Foundation. So maybe after monument, you might want to add the words partnership
Yeah.
on private property. Right. Instead of trails, just partnership on private.
and we have to determine, because we talked a couple of weeks ago at our last meeting about how much of that the town actually owns.
Yeah, well,
The map was not, the map looked like the town didn't own it.
Well, so I actually met with them at one point, what Christian and I did, people were hunting back there, and so we were wondering about it. So we met with them, and they at least expressed to us that they own all those trails.
That's what I thought. Yeah, the foundation, really, the town. The town owns, right. like the circle area. I'm not even sure, I just remember being there one time with John.
Well, and when you start on the trails, like after the.
It's
the
point-
the
Point
sign
three
says-
nine acres, so it's basically what the building lot that was reserved for the town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
the
a,
signs are there.
it's a small area, you know, wouldn't be able to put much there.
No.
But
And
it
that's not really
is-
where, yeah,
That's not really what I want.
right,
So you would get.
yeah,
Maybe that better fits in the bucket, you know, because I think about the integrated against the New York State, some of the proposals with flags. I mean, maybe it is. in our-
Well-
and I'm happy to just work with my neighbors, if that's easier too, for that, you know, it's like, whatever's easier.
If we're talking about something on town
Yeah.
property, it's under town property.
Right.
If you're talking about taking the town parcel out of the picture.
Yes.
putting it in the foundation,
Yes,
Then let's put under other. On it, they can pull it, and in foundation, leave it on their property. And it would be the location adjacent to Bradley Plains Lane.
yes.
And you want to just leave the concept blank?
Sure.
Okay. Right, so up above the state rail. Just keep it there.
And obviously. Any integration, again, we don't. Property is. Anything we do. to what we do. I guess that feel.
Oh, that would be beyond the scope of the committee, so that would
Exactly.
be totally up to the
Yep,
town.
yep.
Great. Okay, now, let's go back up to the top. And we have 2 town-owned sites. Is there any other town site from the listing of the property that we were initially provided as town-owned property? Didn't talk about anything at the town hall. We didn't talk about anything at the highway garage specifically. Or the tennis courts. There's some vacant farmland that we never even touched on. We didn't talk specifically about using parcels now covered by soccer fields and softball fields. So as far as I can determine, we touched each town property that we had honed in on. Is that correct? All right, then let's go down into other. And we had talked about Assemblywoman Burns, that's the New York State Route 64, that would integrate with anything that they were doing, and the idea, and Cynthia, I believe this came from you, that we would, as a town, extend the flag line going out of the hamlet or south on Route 64, in addition to what was being proposed by the Assemblywoman, is dedication of that lane of 251. So that might still be something that the town might consider, whether or not it comes out of this committee, is another concern, but if that assembly bill comes, that would be something for the town board to consider. We had also talked about village property. I know Ed, you had specifically talked about the totem pole area, and so I put that down there. And I put storyboards because that was one of the ideas that we had. Did you do anything to further embellish that or propose that?
Well, I was actually just looking at that, and when I was trying to remember the name of that park, that's,
Market Fest.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is actually, that's actually on Village Park.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's,
You suggested, and I was gonna backtrack on something you just said, Tom suggested, on the overlook by the falls, that's actually the town property. It was for the concept of the, for lack of a better term, the storyboard. So my original thought was placing that board in West Park. I kind of almost thought they said the overlook at the waterfalls was
Is
right in
that-
front of the.
Down below.
Is it down below or the
Um,
one above?
the village owns the property below the town hall.
Oh, okay, what about the deck? Is the deck village park?
Oh.
That's,
That's
uh,
not,
Yeah,
that's,
okay.
the
So-
town owns where the benches,
Yeah,
but most of that going away from the building is the village, not the benches. Well, where, are you talking about the deck or are you talking down below on the grass?
either or, if we went with the little part, I don't think Rick is gonna have a major problem with making that happen, I'm sure that's not. You could either put it at the overlook, or you could put it down, as long as in that case it would be on village property, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. But if you're pursuing, this could also be placed at 3 feet.
Yeah.
And my concept again, that this is something that could be detached relatively simply, and approved if it needs to be taken to a school or something, so. I was thinking of beautifying the park. Actual flowers. Yeah, well, I'd eliminate the village at this point, and go with either location at the town hall or at the. Because this is an information board that you could put as much information on as you desire. on this thing. Pictures and everything. And how better to.
Let's go down to concepts. Where we have the bullet that says portability. What is portability? Storyboards. At multiple locations. Is it work and then concept, care, or consideration? And if the town wanted to consider something that could go multiple locations. Or could be in one spot and move from time to time, that's something that they. But if we pin it to a specific location, then we're kind of defeating the idea of.
Right, that's what I was thinking, where if we're gonna pick a location at this point, I think we should stick with the town. And maybe just keep it in with, integrated in with whatever else is going to be.
So another comma there and potential integration. And then if we want to go back up to the top under town-owned property, we'll grab a put town hall. Okay, yeah, right there. There is a best part there with the flag movements already before you get on the deck. It's
Right, I was originally thinking with the totem pole is, that's technically the village property. We get the house and probably what we doing. But why should we bother with that when we really have the space?
you want us to take away the.
I think I would just take it to the.
Other village area that's on, just up. Is the village cemetery. Because there was a discussion that we had about integrating something into the cemetery. With your memorial, it's a standalone. So is there an interest in preserving that here? I just want to make sure we don't take anything away. Take it away? Yes. Okay.
And getting back into the vote.
So let's go down beyond Red Queen. And we had also talked about a location as an electronic presence and some places that could be quote stumbled on. Just use that because do you want to in your concept of maybe memorial marker, do something on the website or do something in the town electronic presence that would would show people where things are located so that the electronic presence becomes more of like a guide for where people can find the memorial or the memorial sites.
I think it should be. That's definitely.
Then
And it should be fun.
so whatever the concepts are that are presented to the town board, one of the things that we want to stress is to use the electronic presence the town is available to make these places known to people who are looking at town information.
I think it offers.
You have enough there to express what you're saying right now.
I'd like it to say something, some more information, education, biographies, and I would like it to say prominently displayed on those. It's not.
What about multiple locations? I don't know if there's one concept that could be placed or become part of multiple locations as opposed to concentrating the effort at one site. In multiple locations that would be easy to replicate and put at sites.
We talking electronic.
No.
Oh, then
We're on the
it's.
electronic.
God, it's almost.
Multiple locations, I think this might fit into there, but there's a lot of members of our community with a lot of interest in this. I mean, ex-military veterans organizations that never see, will never go to Assembly Park. But they're big, valuable members of our community. They have a large interest in this. So I propose that there should be stumble upon monuments. So that the veterans could see it. Make them aware that the website's there. Besides just stumbling, besides just going to the website. So I think stumble upon monument would be a good someplace. Whether the town offices, it states that there's a monument, a billion hits, Summer Road Park. Give them some information as they stumble upon also.
Give something that
Of the
can go
history.
on the library property that will
The new Pinto there, we proposed. People could stumble on and walk the tour of the village of the town. So, oh, this happened, this is important to veterans, this is important things.
Let me just plant a seed as a thought. Multiple locations was something very simple. You see an American flag flying. Cemetery. Places where departments, there's lots of times you see. I'm thinking of locations as something very simple that prompts, oh, that's why that's there. What if at the town locations where there are stars and stripes flying, fly either the state flag or the national guard is a flag that's generic to the national guard. Get that one. Something very simple. Flags, I don't know, I'm just saying, there might be something that sparks in your mind and says, oh, well, this is real simple, and this could go in a number of places very easily too. It's simple and meaningful. Yeah. I don't know, just.
One other idea I had is, the monument, veterans monument, cemetery. If you've been to other communities, you really appreciate the monument that the village put there. It's a fantastic monument. We also have presence, we have more room for granite benches. We have one dedicated for family, and for each and the auxiliary. If there's room for 4 more benches, the village would want to dedicate one to these 3 service members, the service in the community. That would be a nice place for events there. It's reflective item.
That would stumble.
And we stumble upon, there's a lot of joggers walking through. That's what I came to. Because they can be great.
In addition to the idea of placing another flag that will stars and stripes. Talk about flag law. Thought maybe we would,
My cost until that helicopter could be rigged in the
but something as simple as putting instead of a ball at the top of the outfit. That's something that can be done legal on every town. I'm just trying to think of something simple that would be at multiple locations that you get the word out to people, this has changed and this is why.
It's one of the ideas I suggested in the first meeting. Somebody suggested a
During the time of the flagpole, it was something I thought of earlier, and we had some discussion about it. I believe the national guard flag is the New York State flag.
So, I mean, so New York Army National Guard doesn't have its own standard. There is the Army National Guard, which is just that Minuteman, the circular logo with the Minuteman in it.
Right.
And it says Army National Guard on it. I'm kind of opposed to hanging the National Guard flag on town stuff, to be honest, because what makes my branch different or better than everyone else's? So that's where I'm kind of, I like the concept and I like the idea behind it, but if we're gonna place that in I say what forever word? Or that one? Sorry, I'm enlisted anyway. It's kind of one of those, what makes the Army National Guard better than the Marine
Where's
Corps?
my flag?
Exactly,
Yeah.
like, so I'm kind of, I think coming up with some other, I like a great idea of hanging something, or having something, very simple, like, quick reminder.
But the New York State flag is.
Yeah, I mean, you could do the New York State flag.
That's what I was
Scotus
thinking.
Christian from all over the grave.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, what my thought is out here, and again, we're on village property, is there's this very old flagpole, and it's been cut down. It's actually the history of it It actually goes back to the GAR, Grand Audit Public and Civil War Veterans that live in this town. It was erected for now along with that box that no one knows across the street. Someone was nice enough to put it on the flag around it. It's two monuments to them. So it is quite old. So one of my thoughts was refurbishing this flagpole that's been cut down and doing, some type of something with the unit at the base, maybe trying to save what's at the base. There is some wording on it. I actually talked with at the base currently, but that can be preserved and saved. And added to, the reading at the bottom of the monument reads, "A grateful tribute to the men and women who served in the armed forces of our country." Right. The GAO, back in like around the turn of the century. So if we refurbish this and do that, I was thinking of, again, that's brought me back to the flag, and not knowing which one to use. So if we might just say with the state, that would almost be a tie-in with this new memorial that's here. So we've got 7 flags on here. Kind of got that one a little bit separate, but yet with them with the state flag. So again, people might say, well, oh, what's this all about? And then we'd have the New York State Guard, right? And then some kind of breakdown of what's like that. That was like one of my original thoughts, but I wasn't sure. We're also fragmented away from it, right? But it wasn't thought of something.
What about, sorry, just use the department or the design that someone from the unit made it.
John Memorial Center,
Yeah,
Sarah.
okay. Oh, right. There's a memorial, and I don't know if that could be made into some sort of, it's stickers and it's.
Yeah, but I think that, and that's where I lost my train of thought. That's where I kind of think that we a better symbol
Yeah,
is some sort of readily identifiable, unique
And it was.
to this event.
it's for the 3 of them. There's a crash site. Stickers there right now on the flag. Well, yeah, he's got it there. So it has all their name and it's really nice. So that,
Very easily make that.
right, that's what I was thinking. And that there's no guessing. It's all about, it's just for the 3 of them.
So when we're looking to symbolize
Mhm.
these 3 men.
Yep.
It's already been done.
Yes, yes. Yep. Yeah, right.
And that symbol can be put on a
Yeah.
flag, it can be put on anything.
Yeah, that's what I was,
Yes, Sarah,
Yeah.
our company commander's wife is a graphic artist.
Right.
So she owns the
She
intellectual
made that
property,
up. Yeah,
so
I'm sure
whatever
she
you
did.
want to do with it.
So
And I do like I do like the idea of keeping it separate.
Yeah.
So that it stands up.
Right, there's no, you don't have to figure out what it is,
Right.
it'll tell you, yeah, right.
So when we're talking about multiple locations and symbolism, that should be in the list of the symbols. to be. Okay.
Does that description get you what you need? Because I don't know the symbol you're talking about.
Symbol from stickers.
Yeah, the memorials.
Symbol for memorial,
Memorial sticker.
sure. I mean, it's just memorial, because we've
Okay.
already used it for
Alright.
a few things.
Okay. All right, so let's see where we are. We've gone over everything that I had just pulled out to first in the conversation. What's not on there that we still need to be expressed? Did we miss anybody's thoughts? Anybody's ideas?
Sorry, I got distracted.
Are you okay with what's on there? So we're almost at 8 o'clock. We have nothing more to add there. Let's see where we're going here. Is anybody on Zoom? So there's nobody public comment here. Does anyone have anything else to add to this discussion tonight? All right, our next meeting is 2 weeks from today. It's May 25th. It's the date on the bottom of the agenda. And we need to keep moving forward on this. So what I'll do is I'll send out a memo to you tomorrow from Denise with what Dan has added here. This will be updated. They'll go out to you electronically tomorrow. And I would ask you to start really focusing your thoughts on what you think is important to the folks of the town board. So when we come together the next time, get some consensus around the concepts. I'm not saying that in terms of multiple concepts, because I really think I need more. There's no limit. If there's merit in all of these, fine. If you want to narrow this down in terms of the locations, or you have a concept that just won't leave your mind, but you're not sure where it should go, but it's up here in concepts, come prepared to kind of whittle this down into a format that says, here's what we're going to focus on. And then we'll come back in June and say, okay, these are the proposals we're going to make. We'll go back to the original worksheet and we'll pull from those where we need to kind of do what Tom did when he talked to us. And pull then, you know, you need utilities, you got the amenities, so that we can put this together. I really think that if we're focused here on what you want to present, we need to capture what goes with those things and information and put it into a package for the town. And I really think that can be done quite easily from the standpoint that we don't. Once we get you squared away on what we want to present, then we'll fine tune what we think needs to go with it to make it a nice package for the board. So you have the sheets that, but you have the worksheet that we used originally that has all the specifics about what we talked about. You'll have this update from tonight. So you can wrap together anything that you want to go with where you think these are priorities to pass to.
What detail do you want us to be in finance?
Well, I think you need to get all your thoughts together for these locations or these concepts, so that when we talk about it next time, we're going to do a little bit different format. We're going to take what you come up with, we'll start with the locations, and we'll go down and bullet point what's important in each of those locations, so that then if we're going to wordsmith and put a narrative to the town board, you know, we'll work on that with some help from our minutes and some help from Denise. Maybe we get some calls to you know, clarify things. If you want your concept to the town board to be in bullet points for what you think is important for them to understand, then we'll do it that way. Some bullets, we can use some narratives, however you think it's most understandable. And remember, you know, we're not talking about designs. We're not talking about totally scripting and inscription. We can, your thoughts are important here, but certainly the town board is going to get the final word. So we can be, you know, detailed if you want, to be conceptual, thematic, spray park. Doesn't matter, whatever you think is appropriate to send to the board. But we're working with municipal property, town, in some instances village. We're working with an electronic presence. We're working with potential multiple locations at municipal sites. So I think you're in a good spot. I think we've done a lot of work in a short period of time, but stayed very focused and on point and on target for what we need to do based on our. So next time, it's gonna be real important is we go over these, that the family, you would feel comfortable, like putting a check mark next to the ones that you think are appropriate. And that's. Anything else? Are you not going to? All right, if there's anything that you want us to consider, please get that to me so that I can pick it up, replicate it, copy it, and get the link. I'm sorry, Peter. Dawn, I've not heard anything from Dawn Milburn, so I don't know. But certainly, whatever the forum here comes up with, there's a consensus or an outright vote.
Thank you.
All right. See you next time.
No, they were.
Thank you, Dan.
Right.
Let's say you just. I support everything.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, actually.
Yeah.